Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a little video for you on guilt and shame, basically. Here I am out in nature, and I was just thinking about how a lot of people don't get to enjoy their lives, and enjoy these birds squawking over there, because they're feeling guilty about stuff, and how guilt really holds them back from living up to their full potential. Because when it comes down to negative emotions, harmful emotions, one of the biggest ones, and one of the easiest ones to get rid of, is guilt, you know? Because guilt is a completely worthless emotion. Now, the only reason people think guilt is useful is because they think people feel guilty so they don't do bad things, and people who feel guilty, you know, are gonna it's gonna cause them to do this and that, and yeah. There's a hawk over there. Getting attacked by like a blackbird. That's always hilarious. Anywho, not to get too off topic. So, dealing with guilt. Just how do we take it out of our mind? Why do we take it out of our mind? So, let's start out with like this. Imagine you feel guilty about something you did yesterday, 10 years ago, anything, okay? Just think of something you feel guilty about, you feel bad about. You feel like, oh man, 10 years ago I was embarrassed in school, and instead of saying that dumb thing, I should have said this other thing, or, anything, basically, that you feel guilty about. Often people just feel bad about it for years and years and years, and they just have this, shameful feeling of, oh, this really is horrible, and this and that, and it's the worst. So, the reason you want to get rid of guilt is all it's going to do is make you feel bad. And on top of that, it's going to cause you to feel more guilty in the future, basically neuroplasticity. So, if you feel guilty, it's going to strengthen your guilt kind of pathways in the brain, you know? Not that we necessarily know what those pathways are exactly. But naturally, when you think more on a specific topic, with a particular emotion, such as guilt, you feel bad about it, feel bad about it, feel bad about it, then that causes the mind to, basically grow that kind of weed. You're planting these weed seeds in the subconscious mind of guilt, of, I want to feel bad about things. And it gives you more things to feel bad about, or you feel bad about things you shouldn't even feel bad about, basically. So that's really why you want to get rid of guilt, because it ruins your life in that area, and it's one of fear's biggest minions when it comes to the workings of the mind. Fear is a really bad kind of emotion that it just really sinks in and makes people anxious and have all these problems. And guilt is one of the biggest threats there in the mind, but it's also one of the easiest ones to take down effectively and easily. And so the technique for getting rid of it really comes back to Dr. Wayne Dyer has a really great one on this, saying that guilt is, a waste of time, a waste of thought, because truly it is. And he has this example of the Peloponnesian War. So this war between Sparta and Athens that happened, 2,000 years ago. And he says, do you feel guilty, do you feel bad about a war that happened 2,000 years ago? And the answer is of course not. You're not going to feel bad about something that happened 2,000 years ago. Why would you? So it's then think about anything in the past. Unless you have a time machine, you cannot go back in time and change anything. So if you think, I should have done this, well, you didn't actually do that. So what's the point in thinking, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have done this, when actually you couldn't have done that, because you didn't, So unless you have a time machine, you can't change anything you did 5 seconds ago, 5 minutes ago, 5 years ago. That happened, There's it's just, guilt tries to say, we should have done something different. I should have done something different. Just there's this perfect reality, and it should have gone this way, and I didn't do it, so I should feel bad about it. But there's no point in feeling bad about something if, that's already what happened. It's like the don't cry over spilled milk. So whenever you think you're feeling guilty, whenever you're saying, oh man, I should have done this paper an hour ago, or I should have done this better 5 years ago, or I would have been at such a better place in my life if I did this 10 years ago, etc., Then think of the Peloponnesian War. Do I feel guilty about this war that happened 2,000 years ago? And it's no. So if you don't feel guilty about that, you shouldn't feel guilty about something that happened 10 years ago, because you can't change it, You shouldn't feel guilty about something that happened 5 seconds ago. If you really screwed up 5 seconds ago, that's what happened, And there's not really any way around that. That's just what happened. That's, that's basically it. So once you start to accept that you can't actually change the past, it makes no sense to feel bad about it unless you think you can learn a lesson out of that. But you can't. You see, when you feel bad about something, it keeps you in a perpetual state of messing up. Because if you're saying, basically, you're telling the subconscious mind over and over again, I want to feel bad whenever you're feeling bad, okay? So it's not like suppress your emotions. No, you can get rid of the thought that guilt is okay, that it's good, okay? Guilt serves no good purpose to the individual. It just makes people feel bad over and over and over again. And I know, because I felt guilty like every Sunday, basically. Because I get to the end of Sunday and be like, I didn't do my homework, I didn't do this yard work, I had this whole weekend and I blew it, etc. I would feel guilty every single freaking Sunday. It was an emotion I called Sunday. It was like guilt every single Sunday. But a year and a half ago, I went out on a long walk and I talked about it with my dad, who had this, emotion for over 50 years. Just like that kind of thing. And we figured out, like a year and a half ago, just use this Peloponnesian War Technique, you'll never feel guilty again. And so I've lived over a year and a half with this technique of just, that guilt makes no sense, it's useless, it's harmful, and you can just throw out your guilt. I haven't had any guilt emotions in a year and a half. And I'm exposed to people who try to guilt technique me, like say, oh, you should feel bad about this. I've been exposed to things where I'd initially start feeling, oh, maybe I should have done this. But there isn't like a wham that goes with that, because guilt really punches you after you realize you should have done something differently. So let's say I should have written a paper an hour ago and, I didn't get my paper done, so it's like, oof, right? And then, so I already know I didn't get my paper done, and next time I should get my paper done. But then guilt's like, boom, I'm gonna hit you in the face in addition to the fact that you didn't do the paper. So you should feel bad that you didn't do the paper. There's no lesson to be learned by getting hit in the face. And being punished for it is not going to make you do it better in the future, okay? That punishment is not effective. It's just like, on top of already, saying, oh man, like I should have done this, guilt's just like, yeah, poof, poof, poof. And you feel bad about it for years and years. And like, as I was saying, every Sunday I'd feel bad about my weekend. Or like every summer I'd feel bad about what I accomplished like that summer. But ever since I used this technique, the Peloponnesian War Technique from Dr. Wayne Dyer, if you want to look into that, definitely search that one up. It is a great technique, But basically, just whenever you have an emotion that's guilt, so you're feeling bad about anything in the past, could be 5 seconds ago, 5 years ago, anything. Whenever you're feeling bad about it, okay, just think about the Peloponnesian War. Do you feel bad about this war that happened 2,000 years ago? And then it's like, should I feel bad about something that happened 5 minutes ago, 5 years ago? Why should I feel bad about something I can't change? If I can't change it, what is the good in feeling bad about it? It makes my life worse right now, and it makes me constantly feel like I should have done something, and I didn't do it. So get rid of the guilt in your life. Just tear it out. Use the Peloponnesian War Technique. If you have any issues with it, just leave a comment down below. We'll talk it through, and this can be really useful, because if you get rid of guilt, you can really change your life. Thank you for watching. Please comment and subscribe.